Yo, what's up guys? So today's video gonna be about hunting, matchlock hunting to be precise. So in the video if I say hunting or normal hunting, I mean matchlock hunting. So keep that in mind. The video will be divided by timestamp into sections, so use those to navigate to the topic you might be interested. Hope the video will help some of you guys to get into hunting, and if it does, please don't forget to like and subscribe, because that is the best indicator that it was somewhat useful video. If there are still some questions left after watching video, leave a comment below or hop into my Twitch stream or join my Discord to ask questions. I'll try to clarify things for you. But let's get into the video. So we're gonna start with the requirement and stats. We need villa that can repair. I tried hunting without villa and that was horrible. You need to be able to repair your matchlocks. There are two options, the pay to win villa of course, and the one that you need to craft every day to be able to repair. You can see what you need to craft this item on the screen. Another item that is very beneficial for hunting is hedgehog. Hedgehog type of pet which increases, or rather have a chance to proc additional set of resources. And what it affects is it affects hunting XP, because hunting XP is gotten from tokens. The token that you get after you gather the hunted mob. And at tier 4 hedgehog has 50% chance to proc that additional set. So it will affect how fast you will level up your hunting and will give you a bit of additional resources. If you want to know exactly how much it's gonna affect your growth, then you can check out the spreadsheet in the description below. But basically at the beginning it's gonna have more impact than later in the game, because mastery also affects how many tokens you will be getting. So the higher the mastery, the less impact, because hedgehog always procs only one hunting token. My recommendation would be to try to get at least tier 1 or maybe tier 3 hedgehog. Tier 4 is if you really want to be hunting till Guru 50 or something like that. And another thing you need to have to be able to hunt are mates. Hunting gives a lot of different type of resources, so you need to be able to move them either to storage or to the marketplace. Depending on your mastery, you will need to have approximately from 10 to 20 mates. You can combine storage and marketplace mates together, but overall you will need to have a high amount of mates to be able to hunt. That was all with the requirements. Let's get into the stats. So there are two main stats that you want to be looking at, is attack speed and crit hit rate. Attack speed affects how fast you reload the matchlock and how fast you shoot, and crit rate, well, it affects how often you crit. The main stat to focus on between these two is crit hit rate, because whenever you crit, your damage doubles. So it is definitely the most important stat for hunting. During hunting you also can do back attack. Back attack increases the damage by 1.5. So the combination with back attack and crit significantly increases the speed of killing the mob. I will talk about how we can get 5 attack speed, 5 crit, and some additional buffs that can improve your damage, overall damage, later on in the video in buff section. But I need to tell you guys this information first, because it affects how we are choosing what is the best class for hunting. And from there, the best class for hunting, matchlock hunting, is Striker, Succession Striker, because Succession Striker has a class passive of 25% crit rate, the highest crit rate passive. Some other classes that are worth mentioning is Succession Musa, because Succession Musa has 15% crit rate passive, and he has 30% crit rate active buff for 10 seconds. So especially for Shadowland hunting, it can be very powerful class. Another class that is very friendly for kinda casual Shadowland hunting is Shai. Shai has an attack speed buff for 1 minute that allows you to shoot much faster, and Shai also has resistance, 40% debuff resistance, which means for Shadow Lines you can get 2 resistances to 100%, knockback and stun. Both of those are needed if you want to be just chill back, hunting Shadow Lines, shooting them into the face. To be able to reach 100% stun resist, you want to be using 2 crystals, Fighting Spirit and Giant, you want to be using Villa buff, and you want to be using elixir. And together with Shai buff you get 100% stun and knockback resistance, and you can just sit there and shoot Shadow Lines in front, in face. That is probably the most chill way to do shadowline hunting. So if you don't want to try hard, then Shai would be probably the best choice for you. But for people like me who wants to min-max, who wants to try hard, I would definitely recommend Succession Striker or Succession Musa. They're both very strong class, but Succession Striker is a little bit better because you don't need to worry about your active buff. Oh, another thing that is good for Shai is that Shai does not need to do the quest line to activate this special move. Shai can just sit there and shoot, but for Succession Striker and Musa or any other class, you want to be activating special move to be able to damage the shadow lines as efficiently as possible. But the sliding shot is required only for shadowline hunting. For grass rhinos, you can just hunt without it. And now we're gonna get into how we activate that special move, the sliding shot. So to activate the special moves in hunting, you need to do quest line. Starts from Velia, from David Finto. The first quest called Chaklory the Hunter. You need to talk to NPC Chaklory near Olvio. You need to do this quest line only once per account to activate the sliding shot. So if you have done this before, you don't need to repeat it if you are creating a new character to hunt. After that, you go back to Velia, talk to Igor Bartoli and get a quest called Sweet Rest. It will start the quest line, series of quests where you will be tasked to do some hunting. So before heading out of town, I would definitely recommend buying some Logia Butcher Knife from Zyra. It costs 500k silver more than Logia, but well, it's closer. And I would recommend to get couple beginner or maybe apprentice matchlock, especially if you don't have tent, because your durability will run out quite fast, so you need to somehow repair or somehow continue the hunting. And also grab 4 more items for buffs: Simple Cron Mill, Swiftness Elixir, Wind Elixir, and Shock Elixir. With those buffs you will be able to reach 5 attack speed, 5 crit, and 5 movement speed, which will improve your hunting time significantly. And also grab Vorkal Elixir if you don't have 5 gathering. It will improve your gathering time. During this quest I would just recommend crouching down and shooting, because it will improve your speed. For timed quests I would recommend just killing mobs without gathering. You don't need to gather for it to be counted, so just focus on killing. Once you get to Pavina Greco, you will need to do some whale hunting. If you don't have a boat, you can buy a Feria Cock from Loyalty Shop for 1k loyalty. And before sailing, don't forget to repair your matchlocks. The whale encounter, as anything on sea in video, is laggy and buggy. So yeah, it was fun times. When you're shooting the whale from boat, it's better to stand instead of crouch, because when you're crouching, the shots can be blocked by the boat. And try repositioning your boat parallel of the movement of the whale, so you can shoot from the sides of the boat. Hopefully those tips will help you to have a bit of a less annoying time during this quest, but overall the quest line is only once per account. You don't need to do it multiple times, so remember that while doing this annoying whale hunting. After whale hunting, you'll be sent to Narkion to do some hunting with bugs and shadow wolves and shadow lions. During all those hunting, probably you can just crouch and kill them by normal shooting. Before encountering shadow lions and shadow wolves, I would recommend to have some sort of DP gear, otherwise you might get in trouble. So overall, this hunting questline took me approximately 1.5 hours to finish. But as I said, it's only once per account, and after you finish this questline, you get a new sliding shots as special moves for hunting. Now that you activated the special moves, let's get into the hunting control, aka which buttons to click. So the basics are RMB for reloading, LMB for shooting. You also can crouch. Crouching increases the reload time, or rather decreases the reload time, and also increases the range from how far you can shoot. As you can see on this clip, I was able to shoot the mob once I crouched. For shooting while crouching, I like to move my camera a bit higher. You can do it with arrow up key. While crouching, you are not able to rotate your camera, as you can see on the clip. I'm trying to rotate, but it doesn't go. And to be able to shoot the mob that is behind you, you need to reposition yourself. And to reposition yourself, you need to basically hold W or S. I like holding S, and at the same time you can reload. So you reload before your position, before clicking S, and the repositioning will not cancel the reloading, and you will be able to shoot right after. And there is a special move, a sliding shot, that we activated just now. While sprinting, you click L and B, you hold L and B, and you are able to do 2 fast shots. And the character will go into the crouching position. And the last and probably the most difficult animation cancel is to be able to reload while running. And this one is usually the most difficult one for people, so I will try to explain it as simple as possible. While you're sprinting, you click RMB and then it starts reloading, but you are just running, so you will not be able to do the sliding shot. To be able to do sliding shot after reload, you need to start sprinting, and to be able to sprint, you need to just release the W and then tap it again. Like, let's do it again, yeah? After you reload, you release W and you tap it again, hold it again. And also to be able to do sprinting right after the reload, you need to have high enough stamina. So if you run out of stamina, it will not sprint, as you can see here. You need to have high stamina. When it drops to around 60%, you will not be able to start sprinting after reloading. At the beginning, it's definitely going to be quite difficult to get used to this, but once you get the muscle memory, it's going to be smooth sail. So that was it for the controls. Let's get into the buffs, lightstones, crystals, and items that will help you hunting. Let's start with the crystals. If you are not at 2k mastery, then you just put all 16 vital crystals for higher mastery. Do not use life XP crystals, because hunting mastery is dependent on tokens, and the amount of tokens scales with mastery. The higher the mastery, the more XP you will get. If you don't have 16 vital crystals, but have a glorious sacred or glorious Holocaust, you can use those to increase a bit your attack speed. Corrupted and darkness crystals will also increase the damage slightly, so use them if you don't have vital crystals. You can also use gearing crystal for special attack damage increase, which also will increase the damage. But I would highly recommend to get vital crystals. If you're at 2k mastery, then you can use all the above mentioned crystals to increase your damage. Use Mysterious Darkness over Corrupted if you focus your hunting on back attacks. Well, talking about vital crystals, or rather about the amount you need to use. I just said use 16 if you don't have 2k mastery, which is correct, but not entirely. To understand how much mastery crystals you need to use, we need to understand how hunting mastery works. So there are hunting mastery brackets. Each bracket increases the amount of loot you get. There is no big jumps in increase, the increase is quite gradual, and it is every 50 mastery, starting from 50 and all the way to 2000 mastery. The cap is at 2000, above 2000 it doesn't do anything. So for example, if you are at 1495 mastery, you're only 5 mastery away from the next bracket. But it also means that you have 45 mastery that is not doing anything, because you didn't manage to reach the next bracket. So depending on how far you are from the next bracket, you can drop few vital crystals and use some attack speed ones. So use the crystal setup wisely and adjust accordingly. So those are your crystal choices, pretty simple. For artifact, you want to use gathering item drop rate one. If you don't have those, use the hunting mastery one. Why gathering item drop rate over hunting mastery, you might ask? Well, it is because the gathering item drop rate affects hunting. It increases the chance of all rare items that drops from hunting. Items like black gem, concentrated black gem, heads, breath of Narkion, basically all items that doesn't have 100% drop rate. And because there is limited source of increasing this stat, you need to always choose gathering item drop rate over anything else. So going with this information into Lightstone sets, we go with the hedgehog set, the one that gives plus 10 gathering item drop rate. If you don't have that one, you can go with the canine tooth if you don't want to be swapping gear. Or if you don't mind swapping gear, go dead blow and legendary marksman. So canine tooth is the cheapest option, but if you are willing to swap the gear, then it is better to use dead blow and hedgehog. I just mentioned swapping gear. Let's talk about how that works. When you're hunting, there are 2 stages of hunting. Stage 1 is killing the mobs. Stage 2 is gathering the mob. The hunting mastery is used only on the second stage, the gathering one. And because it doesn't matter how you kill the mob, we can min-max these two stages with swapping your gear in between those stages. To be able to conveniently swap gear, you can use an item called Morco gear bag. It is an item from Pearl Shop, pay to win item, but it also makes your life much easier. If you don't have Morco gear bag, then you can use the swap from hotbars. Never mind guys, you cannot change rings or artifacts from the quick slot. No, regardless of how many times you will click, it will be trying to change only one slot. You can change the alchemy stones, you can change your matchlock and main weapon, and you can change the necklace. Or you can change all from the inventory. But of course that's way too many clicks, it's much easier to click one button with a Morco gear bag. So for min-maxing I would say must-have item. To be able to use Morco gear bag, you need to be in idle stance. If you try using it from crouching position, it won't allow it. So to get into idle stance, I swap my main weapon, and to do so I put it in hotbar and use it from there. It will put you into idle stance from crouching position, and then you will be able to use Morco gear bag. Also from hotbar. To swap back to your musket matchlock, you need to be also in idle stance. So just put your weapon away if you had used some skills and use matchlock from hotbar and Morco gear bag after. That's how you can fast swap your gear. If you don't want to be bothered with swapping the gear, then just go with the canine tooth and sharp alchemy stone of life. If you cannot get sharp, then get Canhart. If you cannot get Canhart, then go with the Trent tier. But if you want to min-max, let's talk what you can min-max. Alright, to min-max the killing stage we need to increase our damage. Get Kaya necklace, it gives 10% back attack damage. Double crit cupped rings gives 3% crit damage each. Alchemy stone of destruction with the highest attack speed increase you can get your hand on. And that blow Lightstone set for a 14% crit rate. And for stage 2 you swap the gear to life scaling ones. You want to swap to Alchemy Stone of Life for gathering item drop rate, and Hedgehog Lightstone set with gathering item drop with artifacts. When swapping the Lightstones, be sure that you have the buffs on before gathering by clicking U manually, because automatic buffs can be delayed because of the swaps. So that covers the min-maxed gearing option you have. Let's talk about the buffs. For food, I would always go with Sweet Fig Pie for gathering item drop rate. And if you want to min-max, you pop additionally Special Kama Meal for back attack damage, Jumbo King Hamburger for crit damage. To get 5 attack speed you need to use costume that you get from Balance Questline and Flowing Wind Elixir. Costume gives plus 2 attack speed. For 5 crit, Spirit Perfume would be the easiest one. If you don't have Spirit Perfume, then you would need to use Shock Elixir and 1 Dark Red Fang Crystal, Valor. If you don't want to try hard with food, you can also just pop Exquisite Cornmeal. It will give you back attack, crit damage and also 2 attack speed and 2 crit. And pop up Wind and Shock Elixir to get to 5 attack speed and crit. Or if you use Canine Tooth, you don't need to pop Exquisite Cornmeal. You can pop Fig Pie or Seafood Cornmeal for mastery. We talked about the mandatory elixirs that we need to reach 5 attack and 5 crit. So there are additional elixirs to increase gathering item drop rate. Elixir of Raw Labor, there are elixirs for damage, Detection for crit damage, Assassination for back attack damage, Distraction for special attack damage. There is also Lara Worm Tea, and any other event item that gives gathering item drop rate is gonna be worth using during hunting. To increase mastery, you can use Secret Book of Florin and Giovanni Grollin's Support Scroll. They are combinable and will give you 200 mastery in addition. Talking about mastery, we need to talk about mastery gear. For endgame, of course, you want to get to the pen minus 100 claws and full 10 minus accessories. But if you're just starting out, to be able to equip Artisan Matchlock, you will need 400 mastery. And to get that, I would recommend getting 3 minus 100 claws, as it gives 25% hunting XP, unlike the Logia and Roba, and it's fairly cheap and easy to buy than Penlogia and Tetrabao. But if you are able to buy Penlogia or Tetrabao, you can go for those. As I said before, life XP is nice, but higher mastery will be better in hunting. This would be anyway just a beginning gear. Eventually you want to get Tet/Pen minus 100 claws. For accessories you get 2 Floramas accessories. Floramas necklace and belt gives the highest amount of mastery. One of the Floramas accessories are gotten from the season seals, you can exchange them. And the second one is gotten from the quest, from Lila. The quest is fairly easy, so definitely would recommend getting those. And for earring and ring, I would go with Tet Logia, and if Pen Logia available, buy Pen. They are the most silver per mastery efficient accessories that you can find. Eventually you want to be swapping them to 3/10 minus accessories, but that is it if you want to invest more silver into life scaling gear. With this setup you should be able to reach 400 mastery and equip plus 10 artisan matchlock. I would recommend getting plus 10 artisan right away, as it will be significantly helping you to level up at the beginning. Once you get to artisan 10, you will be able to equip master matchlock. I would recommend putting pre-order on plus 10 and waiting until you win pre-order, but there might be a quite long wait time. If you want to enhance, always force upon reaching plus 7, as it has chance to downgrade if you go further. And last but not least, the gathering tool you want to use. Do not use magic butcher knife. Gathering item drop rate from magic, lucky or stellar knives doesn't work with hunting. So the Demihar one seems works, but those are limited. For continued usage you can use either the Logia/Manas butcher knife. The enhancement level doesn't matter, as gathering mastery doesn't affect hunting mastery. You can also use normal Late's 50 CP butcher knife. The CP knife gives additional 10% gathering XP, a bit of bonus, but costs 50 CP. So those are your mastery gear choices. And now that you have the gear and buffs, maybe not all the buffs, but at least you have knowledge about them, you are ready to hunt. Let's get into intricacies of the hunting grounds. We're gonna cover today 2 spots, grass rhinos and shadowlands. Grass rhinos are located right above Narcan node. They are the best XP that you can find for hunting, and the highest drop rate of Breath of Narcan. With recent update where Xarka and Karanda can drop plus 15 AP buff statues, Breath of Narcan becoming even more needed than before. If you guys didn't know, you can upgrade those 2-hour statues from bosses to 5-hour ones. To do so, you need unused boss statue and 5 Breath of Narcan. Do the quest from Red Tarantula and get 5-hour version. Very convenient for long grinding sessions. There are a few ways you can hunt rhinos. I'll talk about how I like to hunt. First thing we're gonna talk about is what states rhinos can be. It is not aggressive mob, but when you get close to it, it does go into the alert state. Here is the animation. When the rhino is in alert state and getting shot, it will do either attack or another getting ready animation, or combination of those in the direction it was looking. Keyword is direction, which means it is more time for back attack damage if rhino is looking other way around. To use that mechanic to our advantage, I like to put my horse right in front of these 2 rhinos. Rhinos gets alert to the horse, and so we will get 4 free back attack damage for these 2 rhinos. This is one of the examples how you can use this mechanic to our advantage. Also, normally if you shoot rhino from distance, it will always just run to you instantly. But there are a couple rhinos that have walking animations. When they are walking, they will ignore all shots. So if back is open, that is easy free back attacks. But as I said, normally one shot they will aggro to you and start hitting. They have 3 different attacks: stop on the place, fast charge through you, and slow charge through you. So those animations you want to be wary about. But of course the slow charge through you is gonna be the best animation because it allows you to do more back attack damage. So I like to divide hunting spot into 2-3 sections, depends on how fast you are. And on those sections I choose spots where I can reach most amount of rhinos. The first initiation I try to do with sliding shot into one of the standing rhinos, trying to shoot before rhino stands up as he getting alert. As you guys remember, if rhino is in alert state and getting shot, it will do getting ready animation, or one attack in a direction it looks, or both of those. Meaning, if you shoot rhino before it fully gets in alert and changes his direction, we will get at least one animation where it will do in the direction it's looking, meaning free back attacks. After engaging in the first rhino, I just shoot rhinos from distance to aggro them. While one is running, I aggro a couple more. And once 3 or more stockpiled on me, I choose who to attack, recognizing the attack patterns that Rhino is about to do, so I can focus on the ones that I can back attack. If there are none that I can back attack, I try to aggro some more. But usually if enough is aggroed, it shouldn't be the issue. Rhinos don't deal much damage, so having up HP potion should be more than enough to survive. The corpse stays up for 1.5 minutes after the death, so you need to finish gathering all before the first rhino starts disappearing. So depending on how fast you are killing, adjust your gathering accordingly. This method is great for swapping gears because you have quite decent amount of time between swaps and clear distinction between killing and gathering stages. And these are the 3 sections I like to crouch at to reach the maximum amount of rhinos. But important that you don't want to use 3 sections if you're not fast enough. It can be enough just 2 nearby ones. At the beginning just do 2 while getting used to the spot. Extended 3 only if you are overclearing. But I think that was it for rhino spot. Let's get into the shadow lines. So shadow lines are located in the same area as rhinos. There are 12 shadow lines nearby. I like to start from this spot, 3 mobs here. Then you go here, 3 mobs here. Then you get here to this disappearing pillar, 3 mobs here. And 3 more here along the river. And you get back to the start. Your clear speed is not that high, the 3 mobs along the river can be ignored. If you're killing these 12 mobs on cooldown, you will be looking at around 275 to 280 kills per hour. My highest hour was 277 kills. So, shadow lines are aggressive mobs, and once in range, it will do the getting alert animation and start chasing you, even if you didn't hit it. So the idea of hunting shadow lines is to get to its back and deal back attack damage while he is in getting alert animation. The faster you come and shoot, the better. That is why sliding shot is must have for shadow lines. Once you are proficient and fast enough, you should be able to do 4 shots before it does its first attack. And about the attacks of shadow lines, there are 3 different attacks. Jumping back and roar, it stuns you. Claw attack, doesn't have any CC. And the bite attack, it knockbacks you. During jump back and roar, it is important to wait till it lands and turns to roar, and only after that you start blasting its back. It is a long animation, so all 4 shots and even more can be done. The claw and bite attacks are fast animations, so during those only 2 shots from sliding shot. After the initial 3 to 4 shots during the alert animation, before shadow lines does its first attack, you need to be already ready for sprinting for another sliding shot. So when it does attack you, sprint parallel to its body and do sliding shot. Sharply turn your mouse to hit the back of line. This move definitely gonna take some time to get used to, but once perfected, it is quite smooth. And of course you use the reloading while sprinting cancel that we talked about in the special attack and moves section. Last and probably most important thing about tryhard shadow line hunting is to nail the swapping gear after killing and before gathering. As I mentioned before, to be able to swap gear with Morco gear bag, you need to be in idle stance. After you kill line, you are usually in crouching position, which won't allow you to use gear bag. So to get into standing position, you either click Q and cancel the animation of standing up with the movement to any of the sides, or you start sprinting from crouching position and cancel the sprint with one of the direction movements, except back movement. But both of those require good timing, and I personally never perfected those. I already talked about the way how I get into idle stance after crouching. I put my main weapon on hotbar and my matchlock. Once in crouched position, you can swap to your main weapon from hotbar, and it will put you into idle stance. And after that, you use Morco gear bag to change the rest. And to put your matchlock back, you also need to be in idle stance. put weapons away fast on Succession Striker, you click tab while holding one of the direction keys, and that's it. Once you get used to it, it's quite fast to swap the gear in between. For movement between packs of lines, as you can see on the clips that is getting played, I use the Succession Striker's 3 dashes, with W shift for 30% movement speed buff. And after the last one, click LMB for another 30% movement speed buff. After that, you put your weapons away and just run. Talking about movement speed, for Shadow Lines, as it requires to move around a lot, it is best to get 5 movement speed. To get that, you can pop Swiftness Elixir and either Costume Crystal for +2 movement, like in my case, or you can use one History Crystal or pop Exquisite Crown Mill. It depends on how you build your setup and what you can give up. You also can use Calc Elixir that gives 5% movement speed. And I additionally pop my E buff on cooldown for additional 30% attack speed. I usually pop it before starting the engage of any of the 3 Shadowline packs. So I think that was it, guys. Of course, you don't need to try hard to be able to hunt. This is just information for you guys to use if you want to min-max. But if it is not your style, you always can just go chill on Shai with 100% knockback and stun resistance, the build that I mentioned in the class selection. Anyway, hope it was somewhat helpful. Try to give as much information as possible on these 2 hunting rounds. If you want to learn more about other hunting spots, other classes and so on, there is an amazing spreadsheet made by GPW that covers everything. Spreadsheet I briefly mentioned at the beginning. It has profit calculator, XP calculator, detailed information on possible drops, more hunting spots overview, rotations, class comparison, etc. Check it out and play with it. To be able to edit it, you just need to make a copy of it. And the links for all the websites and discords from where I used images or information will be available in the description below, so check those out, and guys, happy hunting!